Hello, ISO 27001 attributes. This is probably something that you haven't really heard of. It's part of the ISO 27001 standard. It was introduced in the 2022 update. You may have seen reference to it and wonder what it is. You may have never heard about it. You might be wondering whether or not you've got to implement it or not and how you're going to go about implementing it. So let me just give you this ultimate guide to the ISO 27001 attributes and bust some myths for you. So what are attributes? Attributes is something that the 27001 standard introduced as it moves more and more into influencing the technical implementation of the management system. The concept of attributes is a good concept. And what it says is that when we have 27001 controls, we have information security controls, we can allocate attributes, categories, themes to those controls that will allow us to view and report on those controls in different ways. So it's a construct that was introduced as part of something that you might want to do that allows you to view controls from different perspectives based on what your perspective may be. And I'm going to go through that and show you that in a moment how the standard defines it. Now, are the ISO 27001 attributes mandatory? No, they're not. The use of attributes is not a mandatory requirement of the standard. It's seen as a value add, your ability to view controls from different perspectives. What is the reality of implementation? The reality of implementation is 99% of the people aren't going to use them. It may be that if people are creating a digital online SaaS platform, that it may be a feature that they can sell that potentially is a value added feature, but 99% of implementations are not going to use it. And the reason they're not going to use it is the overhead to implement it is too high and the value that you get in a small organization is almost zero. Right? So your ability as an information security manager to view the controls from different perspectives may have some value in a large organization, may have some value when it comes to auditing and review, but from an implementation perspective, it has very little value. Do you have to use all of the attributes that the standard has defined? No, you don't. So the standard clearly and explicitly states that you can use all, none, a subset of those attributes. This is about you, your reporting, and how you are going to distribute information about your management system if it is appropriate to you. But I'm telling you, 99% of the people it isn't. Can you create your own attributes? Yes, you can. The standard again explicitly says if there are other attributes, other views that you want to create on reporting, then you can go ahead and you can create those. This is your management system at the end of the day. So these attributes, they add some value potentially for how we view. You can change them, add to them, remove them, use them, not use them, and create your own. When it comes to the definition of attributes within the standard, it uses the hashtag. Why does it use the hashtag? Because these older generation individuals believe that they're trying to keep up with new social media, and they believe that by introducing a hashtag at the front of this attribute will make it searchable. It won't by default, but that's the intent behind it, so that you can search for these attributes and related search terms and related attributes as well. Why does the standard include an underscore between the words of the attributes? Again, this is a technical implementation. It doesn't make it easier for a user. It doesn't make it easier for us to read and understand it. But this is, again, their belief that if you have an automated system or a technical system, it can't handle spaces, and therefore these attributes should have an underscore within them. So do you need to use the hashtag? Not necessarily. There are other ways of indexing information within systems. And do you need to include the underscore? Not necessarily. There are different ways of tagging data within information security management systems, but you can if you so choose. So what are the attributes and what are the values? So let's go through them, right? So I'm going to do a little bit of reading. So there are 5 attributes with associated values in the 2022 version. Again, these are not mandatory, but it's giving you guidance. So what are the 5 attributes? The first one is control type. So the first attribute, the control type, is an attribute that allows you to view controls from the perspective of when and how the control modifies risk in relation to the timing of the occurrence of an information security incident. So the values are preventive, a control that is intended to prevent the information security incident from happening; detective, a control that acts when an information security incident is happening; corrective, a control that acts after an information security incident has happened. So that's the control type attribute. Then there are information security properties. This is the second one. Information security properties is an attribute that allows us to view controls from the perspective of which tenant of information security the control addresses. The values are confidentiality, integrity, and availability. The third attribute with values is the cybersecurity concepts. Cybersecurity concepts is an attribute that allows us to view controls from the perspective of how the control links to the cybersecurity concepts defined in the cybersecurity framework described in ISO IEC TS 27110. This is purely an academic exercise, right? I mean, this is an academic, if you're going to do it, right? But I mean, it is what it is. The attribute values are identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. The next attribute is operational capability. There's a lot of these. Operational capability is an attribute to view controls from a practitioner's perspective of information security capability. Operational capability attribute values. Governance, asset management, information protection, human resource security, physical security, system and network security, application security, secure configuration, identity and access management, threat and vulnerability management, continuity, supplier relationship security, legal and compliance, information security event management, information security assurance. So those are the values that the standard provides for that particular attribute. And again, if these are views that you need to see, then you can implement them within your system. But hopefully you're seeing that for the smaller implementations, the organizations that I deal with, this is going to be overkill, right? There's only 93 controls. The reality is you're probably going to need all, if not most, if not all of them. You know, if there's value in it, great. But is the cost associated with implementing your ability to review and report in these particular view spaces worth it for the minimum amount of return that you're going to get through doing it? I don't know, it's for you to decide. The next attribute is security domains. Security domains is an attribute to view controls from the perspective of 4 information security domains. The domain values are governance and ecosystem, protection, defense, resilience. So those are the attributes that it provides you. The reason it provides you those attributes and it provides you those values is it believes that they are the most broad brush to satisfy the most requirements. So I will leave it down to you to decide whether or not you need to do that. When was it introduced? Attributes were introduced in the 2022 update to the standard. So if you're on the 2013 version, you haven't got to them yet. And yeah, they introduced it, technical implementation of management systems, and basically to aid you with reporting. So that was the ultimate guide, a high-level guide. There is a blog associated with it. I'm going to link to it below. A bit more detail in the blog, please go along, read it. It lays it all out in there if you want to copy and paste it or whatever it is that you need it for your researches or for your company. All of the knowledge and the information is in there. I'm Stuart Barker, the 27001 Ninja. I remain at your disposal as we go through exposing, highlighting, training and educating on ISO 27001. For now, you are absolutely golden. Peace out.